I'm a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go. I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down.
Hi guys, welcome to my this video, and this video is gonna be very interesting because we are gonna talk about smart contracts, blockchain, decentralized finance, Flutter, and we are gonna combine all these together. So even if you are new to this particular concept, then also I would suggest you to watch this video, because blockchain is another trending technology which is kind of getting so much hype for various reasons and for good reasons. So this video is definitely for you, and I'm just gonna show you what we will make. So I'll just show you the Flutter version of it, but we are gonna do more than that. So right now, as you can see on my screen, I have this particular PK coin, which is a smart contract, and the current balance of this is $181. And now we have a slider here which we can use. Like, this is just for like fancy stuff, but you can have a text field or anything like that. So we have a button called refresh, by which we can refresh the balance. Then let's say I want to deposit $20. So I can just click on deposit, and it will take a while, and few things are happening in the background in the console, which I'm not gonna show you right now, but I'll show you it later. And now my $20 should be deposited. So let's refresh, and you can see now it's $201. Similarly, I can, let's say I want to let's say withdraw $1, and I can click on withdraw, and then again a process will happen. It takes a few moments, and then if you will refresh it, then a couple of times, and we will see it should be 200. Okay, it's still, I think, work in progress. Okay, so it's taking some time here, and now you can see it's 200 finally. So yeah, the initial implementation is not that great, but yes, you can see everything in detail. And you might be wondering, this is just a prototype, or maybe it is actually working, or how it is connected to blockchain. So everything I'll explain in the later part of this video, so keep watching. If you're already interested, then press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber already, and press the bell icon as well. So now the main thing which I want to convey here is that you should know about smart contract. So what is a smart contract? It's basically nothing but a code, you can say, like a computer program which we can read here, right? And what it helps with is execute, control, or document legally relevant events and actions according to the terms of a contract or an agreement. I know you didn't understand anything, but let's take an example. Let's say if you are shopping with Amazon, Flipkart, or any other company, right? And the problem which with those companies, it's like let's say if you went to some website xyz.com, right, not taking the example of Amazon, because Amazon is already a trustworthy company, so if you are paying for something, you will get that, right? But let's say there is a company called XYZ, and you buy something from there, right? And instantly your money will be deducted, and they will get your money, but nothing is sure that if you'll get the product or not. And let's say they are trustworthy, but there is another delivery company which provides the delivery service, and they did not deliver your product. They will get the commission, but at the end you are the one who will suffer with this situation. So that's when smart contract comes into the picture, and smart contract says that, okay, the Amazon or XYZ will only get the money when your product will be delivered. And similarly, the delivery company will also get the commission only when they will deliver the product, right? So that's what a smart contract does. And so basically everyone has a document to check what's happening with the entire system. And we are gonna see Ethereum blockchain, and on Ethereum blockchain we will write our first smart contract. So even if you're very new to this concept, then it's okay. You don't have to panic, because we are gonna learn everything. And if you want to earn money from blockchain, if you want to know more about blockchain and how to create blockchain, so all of these things we are gonna learn in many videos which I'm gonna do very soon on this channel, and this is one of them. So yeah, let's proceed with creating our first smart contract. So yeah, don't panic, everything is sorted. I'm also new to blockchain industry, I'm making a blockchain product, so that's why I'm sharing this with you. So the first thing which we need is Metamask. Okay, so this is a Chrome extension which you can download. So basically the advantage of this is that we can add a wallet here, and we can deal with that wallet thereafter. So I'll add to my browser here, add to Brave. So right now I'm using Brave browser, Chrome as well. And once you do that, it will take a moment, and then you will see Metamask in the extension here, and then you can say get started. Now you have two options: either you can import a wallet. You will have, like, when you create a wallet, you get 12 word seed phrase, which is kind of, you can say, a password or private key or something like that, which is gonna be, if you destroy, if you somehow forget that, or if you destroy that, and then it's like you cannot recover your wallet. Okay, so that is a very very kind of important stuff which you have to keep. But right now, let's say we don't have a wallet, so we'll create a wallet, and I'll say I agree, and then it will ask me to create a password. So I'll write a random password, let's say anything, I'm not gonna tell you, but you can have your own password, and agree and create. So it will create at a particular wallet for me. Now you can see there is an option called click here to reveal secret words, and these are the secret words, the 12 words which I was talking about. So I'll say remind me later, I'm not gonna show you because, and as you can see right now I have 0 Ethereum because this is the new account, and I'm right now on main Ethereum network, and I can add tokens, send, buy, and all these things. But the problem with this is, like, we are developers, we cannot do everything on this mainnet, right? We need some testing account. So I can, from this list, I can click here, there are many test networks, so I can select any of them. Let's say we select Rinkeby test network, and here I will have this address again. Now if I click on buy, because I need some tokens to do transactions, right? Or so 0 ether is basically another wallet, or you can say another coin, which we can which we can transact with. We can convert this value to dollars as well, we can buy this. So right now we want to buy some test ethers. So if I click here, you will see something called test faucet. I'll say get ether, I'll go here, and this is the website which will open. I'll click on this crypto faucet. So crypto faucet is basically a way to get free ethers. Okay, one thing which you have to do, you have to go to Metamask, you have to copy this address from here, and then you have to go to your social media account, either Facebook or Twitter, and then you will paste that particular URL. Let's say this is one of the URL which I used, and then you can say you want ether for 8 hours, 1 day, or 3 days. This is the value, and once you do that, you will get some ether. And why I cannot do that? Because I have already redeemed my ether in some other account, so that's why it will not work for me. So that's the concept. Once you get some ether, and once you do that, so basically the post which you are gonna do, okay, it should just have this address. Okay, apart from that, whatever you write doesn't matter. Okay, so you can just go ahead and you'll definitely get some ethers. Now moving ahead, I'll open my another account, and here you can see in the Rinkeby test network I have 18 point some ethers, right? And I'm gonna use this ether for doing all kind of like writing my first smart contract and doing some transactions. So I'll go back again, and for like how we will write this smart contract, right? We need an ID first of all, and we need a programming language to do that, right? So the programming language which we are gonna do for this is gonna be Solidity, and for Flutter we will use Dart. So for Solidity, we can actually go to something called Remix Ethereum, which is another online IDE which we can use. And if I'll click here, remix.ethereum.org, and Metamask and all these things, it is asking if you want to connect and not. So once you open it, you will see storage.sol, all these files, right? So many files, and it's pretty much like how you work on JavaScript, so don't get like fear of it. So I'll just delete everything from here. I'll do everything from scratch. So, or maybe I should because this particular Brave browser does not have that Metamask account which have money. So I'll move back to my Chrome browser, and here I will open Remix .ethereum.org. And now here I don't have anything. So again, this is all blank. So I'll create my first smart contract. For that, I'll click on this plus icon on here, and it will ask me to name a file. So I can just say pkcoin and .sol. Basically stands for Solidity, which is a programming language which we are using. Like for Dart we use .dart, so similar stuff. And I'll press OK. Now this is a file which we have. Let me just zoom a little bit, and here we will start with something called pragma, and we have to give the version of the Solidity which we are gonna use for compilation. So pragma Solidity. So if I go here on this particular tab, then you can see the compiler 0.66 plus commit something like that. So I'm gonna use that version, let's say 0.6.6. okay, so this is our version which we are gonna use. So there is no rad indication, which means this is correct. Now we will create our first smart contract. Very simple and very useful. So I'll say contract, and I can name it, let's say pkcoin. So yeah, that's it. You made a contract. Now contract should have something, right? A balance or something, because we are talking about a coin. So I can have something called a integer of balance, and then I will create a constructor for it so that I can initialize some balance, and it's gonna be a public constructor. So I can say here balance. Initially the balance is 0. So that's what we did. Now once we have the balance here, now there should be a method as well to get this balance, right? So I'll create a function called get balance, and yeah, and here I can return the balance, right? So return balance, so normal stuff. So you can see it's nothing critical. Now it's giving me a warning saying that what kind of visibility it has. Like constructor was public, is it public as well? So there are two things. First thing is either it is read only or write only. So when you are getting a balance, you know, you are not doing any write operation, so you can just say view means that it is just read only, and then it is public so that anyone can access it. And then it returns something. What it returns? It returns an integer. So I can do something like this. Now it should fix all the issues, right? So yeah, now this is how I will get the balance. Similarly, I will create another method here which I'll call, let's say, deposit some balance. So deposit, because if you consider an example of a bank, right, the same situation happens where you have get balance, deposit some balance, withdraw some balance. And again, I'm gonna just say public. This is read operation plus write operation, because you know, we are gonna deposit some amount. So we can just say balance is equal to balance, and we need some amount, right? So we will in the parameter we can have a parameter called amount for this particular function, and then we can add that amount to our balance, right? AMT. So this is how our deposit balance will work. And similarly, I can copy this and paste it again, and this time rather than deposit, I can say withdraw balance. And what will happen? It will remove some amount from the balance. So all this, so we have written the code, a basic code of how to perform the operation. Now we need semicolon, that's why it's giving me error. Here also we need semicolon, and we are good to go. So we have successfully connected our you know, I have created our very basic smart contract, and that was very basic, right? So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to here, and I can see this is the version, this is Solidity compiler, and I can compile. So if you have multiple contracts, you can select which contract you want to compile. So I have just one pkcoin, and I'll click here compile. So it will compile it for me. And now if I can go to another block, deploy and run, and here you can see right now the situation is that we have some accounts here, but we want our account, right? So basically we have to inject Web3, and we have to choose our network. So I have injected, and now you can see I have this address where we have 18.749212000088 Ethereum. So once you click here, let's say if I click on inject, then you know, inject will ask me to provide something like Metamask or something, so it will ask me to provide that. So right now it is not asking because here we have not set up the Metamask, but in this browser I have already set up Metamask. So as you can see, I have this balance, this account 0x and ending with 4C. So this is the same account here, and it has 18.7490, so we are getting that as well. And now let's again deploy it. So now if I deploy it, you can see it is asking for a gas fee. So I can the gas fee is 0.000113. So confirm, I can confirm it, and now it will be deployed. And once it is deployed, then you will see again the balance will be 0 and all that, and then we can use it, right? So that's the idea. Let's see if it takes some time. Yeah, so now it is deployed, and now we can again get balance, and the balance is 0. Now let's try to deposit some balance. So again I want to deposit 10 PK coin, and once you do that, then again it will show the pop-up of MetaMask that it involves a gas fee. So gas fee is basically the miners will get this fees for doing this work for you. So now the gas fee is 0.00042. I'll confirm it, and now 10 PK coins should be deposited in this particular program which we have written. Now let's try get balance. Okay, it's still happening. As you can see, it takes some time, right? And I'll show you how you can check that. So you can go to this website called from here, the link is there in the console, and you can see it is still pending, right? So it's a ether scan where you can see all the transaction details. I can just copy this account, and I can here search by this address. So you can see all the transactions which I have done with this account. So right now we have done 18 seconds ago. 1 minute ago we actually deployed it, and this is what happened. And now we have done another which is now successful. So now it should have the 10 balance. So yes, you can see the balance is 10 here. So similarly we can withdraw it, right? So yeah, this is how you will create your first smart contract. And now the problem with this, or the thing is that this deposit withdraw, we cannot give it to user to directly use, right? So we want something else. So we want a Flutter app to do that, right? Now we are here in the Flutter ecosystem. Now I'll create a new project. So new project, I'm gonna name it, let's say PK coin. PK coin can be a name of the project, and my project will be created. And once my project is created, to contact the blockchain, okay, or to get access to this blockchain, we need kind of you can say we need a server which can help us in connecting both of them. To do that, either you can use something called Ganache. Okay, Ganache, if you will search Ganache blockchain, okay, so Ganache is something which you can use, or you can use I am very new to this concept as well. So Infura is basically it gives you a gateway. You can just log in here and create an account, and then it will give you an address. So Ethereum, if I'll click, you can see I have already PKBI. So if I click on settings, you can see I have this mainnet address which I can use to communicate to this blockchain, right? So you can use Infura, Ganache, or you can use your local server as well. It's totally your call. You can use anything which you want, right? Now to actually use blockchain, we have to add few dependencies here. So the first dependency which I will add would be Web3 Dart. So Web3, so if you are working on JavaScript, there is Web3.js. Similarly for Flutter or Dart, we have something called Web3 Dart, which is basically if I can show you, if I'll go to let's say pub.dev. So I'll open pub.dev, and here I can just search Web3 Dart. Okay, not this one. So Web3 Dart is here. The current version is 1.2.3, but we have a pre-release. I'll use pre-release rather. And it is basically a library that connects you to Ethereum blockchain, and that's what we need. So I'm just gonna replace this version with this one, the new one. And now we have web3 dart. One more library which I want is my own library, which is called velocity x, so that we can do the UI part quickly. So velocity x we have web3 dart, and one more we need for doing internet communication. So we will add http library for that. So http is also something which we need. And once we have that, now I can go back to our main app. Let's delete everything, or let's leave this material app,
and let's delete everything else. Okay, so now I have this. My home page is there. Let's say PK coin rather than this. Flutter is fine. Let's delete all of this stuff. And yes, this is my home page. I'm gonna delete everything which does not matter. Yes, we have an app bar. Let's delete that as well. And in the body, let's have nothing but just the center. And I'm also gonna remove the floating action button because I don't need it. Okay, so this is a very simple kind of
application which we have right now, which does not have anything. Now what I want is, first of all, I want to have the HTTP client and web3 client. So I'll come here and I'll say I need a client which will be, let's say, HTTP client. Okay, then I need a web3 client, so I'll say Ethereum client, because it's all about Ethereum blockchain, right? And apart from that, I think we don't need anything apart. We just need our address as well, right? So I can just say my address, which I wouldn't be needed. So I'll go to my this Metamask and I'll copy my address, and I'll come back here and I'll paste it like this. So now we have my address as well. And let's do one thing to use our contract which we have made, right? So we need to go back to our this remix IDE, and if you'll go here, then you will see something called compilation details and ABI. So you have to click here on compilation details. So you will get this ABI, and we need this ABI, okay, because this is our logic, how many methods are there and all these things. So I'll copy this, and now you will go back to your Flutter app and you will create a new folder called assets. So assets I'll create. So and in assets I can have a new file called abi.json. You can name it anything, but name it whatever makes sense. I could name it pkcoin.json as well. So abi for now, and I'll copy that. Copy the things which I have mentioned there, right? Like here there was ABI, I just copied this thing, okay, and just pasted here. Now to read it, what you have to do, you have to go to pubspec.yaml and you have to enable assets, right? So I'll enable assets quickly. I'll do this, and then I can just say I have everything in assets. So assets is like that, and once you have the assets, we want to, let's create the UI first and then we will proceed. So let me do one thing. Let me just run it on my simulator so that we can see things as well. So now this is the simulator which we have, and now let's create the UI, right? So first of all, I have a scaffold. I'll give it a background color. I will use velocity X to have a background. So I can just import this and I can just say gray 300, and now we have some background here. Now in the body I can use something called Z stack, which is again a stack, nothing else, and I can have some children here. So first of all, we want to have kind of a box, so I can just say VX box, okay, and then I will give it some color, let's say blue 600, and it will have some size. So the width can be the entire width, but the height should be context dot percent height into 30, which means 30% of the height, and then we will make it. So what we will get, you will just see. So we will get something like this. This is what we want, right? Let's remove this banner as well because I don't need this, and we can just make it false. Banner is gone. We have a box now, and After that, let's have another stack, this time column. For column we use something called v stack in velocity x. So here after this we can use v stack. So v stack, what we can do here in the v stack, we will have, first of all, let's give some height over here. So context dot percent height into 10, and then we can say dot height box. So basically it's a sized box of 10% of the height of the screen, and then we want something like a text called pk coin. So it's similar to the design which I showed you in the beginning. So I'll say something called we not need this pk coin. Okay, and once we have this text, then we can say dot text dot xl4. Let's say the size we need is xl4, then it should be white, of the color should be white, then it should be bold, then it should be centered, and we'll make it centered. Okay, now we have pk coin as a text, and then we can give some padding as well. So I want some vertical padding of 16. So this is looking good, and let's have some height box again, similar height box after this. So I'll just add the same height box, but this time 5%. And now I want another box, the similar box which we used recently, but this time to show the balance, right? So I'll copy this box again and I'll paste it here, and I have another box, but rather than like blue, this time I'll make it white so it looks good. Second thing which I can do is I can make it maybe some margin, so this looks like this, and then I want to make it rounded as well. So dot round, okay, we have to do it before make. So dot rounded, so it looks like this, looks good. Then let's give some shadow as well, which will make it look better. This is good, but rather than 30 height, like 30% of the height, we can just make it 18. Yeah, this is fine. Now what we want to have a text over here inside it. So I will add some child to it, again a v stack, and here we can say that we want first text as balance. So I'll say balance. Okay, this is gonna be a text of, let's say, gray 700, and then xl2 semi bold and make centered. So now we have something called a balance. Okay, this is coming on the very top, so I don't want that as well. So also for this vx box, I can give some padding, let's say 16, something like this. Okay, now it looks, is it? Yes, it's looking better. I have the balance here. Let's give some height box again. So 10 dot height box of 10, or you can say sized box of 10 height. And then I want to show the balance over here. Okay, so let's have a field called data. So what I'll do, I'll have a field which is a boolean. So I'll say boolean data. Okay, initially it is false, right? But once we have the real data, it will be true. So what I'll do, I'll check, okay, if I have the data. Okay, if I have the data, then what I'll do, I'll show some balance. Otherwise what I'll do, I'll show a progress indicator or something, right? So I'll say if I have data, then just show some data. Let's say a balance, let's say $1 for the time being, just for saying, dot text dot bold dot xl6 probably, and make centered. Okay, but if I don't have that, then I want a circular progress indicator in the center. Okay, in the center. Okay, and now you can see I have the progress indicator in the center because I don't have the data. Data is false right now, right? So we are just making the UI right now, so that's why we are not concerned about anything else. Now after that I'll give a height box of 30. Okay, and then I will have a slider widget which I will create very soon. But before that, let's make some buttons, right? So we will create few buttons. So the first button, so I'll have a H stack which is again similar to row. Then the first button which we can have is, let's say, flat button dot icon, and it will have on pressed property. So I'll do that as well. Then it will have some icon. So for icon we can use, let's say, icons dot refresh, because we want to have a refresh kind of icon. And we can also give it colors, let's say color dot white. For label, I would want something like refresh button. So refresh dot text dot white not white dot make. And I don't know if you can see it, but we have the button here, but we need some color as well, otherwise it will look ugly. So colors dot blue, and now we have this. And for shape, let's give it some rounded corner as well, rounded SN. Okay, so now we have one flat button which looks good, refresh button. Now similarly we will create two more. So I'll add just two more icons here. The second one would be for deposit, and the third one would be for withdraw. So I'll just call it deposit, and I'll call it withdraw. And similarly they will have some icons. So for this one I will say call made outline. This is kind of the icon which we will use. And for the second one we will use call received, I guess there is an icon for that. Similarly the color can be, for deposit it can be green, and for this one it can be red. Okay, so now we have all these icons. Now what I want to align them, okay, with some space. So I can just say, I will go to this H stack, and H stack has this property called alignment. So I can just say main axis alignment dot space around, so that it can divide it, but it will not work because the axis size is minimum. So let's make it to take as much space as it can. And now we have these buttons, right? Also we could do one more thing. Let's add some padding first of all. Initially it is looking good. And also if we can give this icons more height, let's say height of 50, something like this. This looks little bit bigger, and that makes more sense. So I'll add this height to every button. Okay guys, so we have this thing ready. Now we need a slider, right? So for slider we will go to Google. So let's go to Google, and let's write Flutter slider. So we have kind of beautiful slider, let's say, and we have first blog written by a person called Ankit Chaudhary, and he has actually made a good slider which we can use, right? So we will take his slider, his beautiful slider, and we will directly use it. Okay, so shout out to him for making this beautiful slider. So now I'll go back to my code, and main.dart, right? And I'll create a new file here, and I can just say slider widget.dart, and here I'll just copy and paste one of the slider I already have, which is taken from his code. Again we have the slider widget, and now we want to use that slider widget, right? So to use the slider widget, what we have to do, we can just go to our main.dart, and above this H stack we can have something called slider widget. Okay, we have the slider widget, and it has some properties which we will use. So you can see we have the slider widget. Let's make it centered as well, so that we can have it centered. Right now it has a value from 0 to 10, so we can just say minimum 0. Max, let's make it 100 rather than 10. So now we have 100, and then it has something called final value which we can use. So this value can help us to get the exact amount which we want. So for that we can have another field for storing this amount. We can have a field. So I can make something like my amount, okay, something similar. So I can say here, let's say I have my amount, and initially my amount is 0, okay, so this is 0, my amount is 0, and now once I get this value from here, I can set my amount, okay, to this value into 100. Okay, why I'm doing this? Because the value which it will give me will be in point like 0 to 1. So I'll multiply it by 100 to get the actual value of it. And once I get the actual value, I can make a round of it because it's an integer. And then yeah, we will get the amount. So as you can see, if I go here and if I try to refresh it, it change it. Right now you cannot see it, but yeah, it's giving me some amount. So maybe we can print this my amount. So if I print my amount here, my amount, something like this, then if I'll just do it, you can see it's now 44 and the last value which we got was 44. So this is working now. We are getting the amount. Now we have to make this thing work. Okay, so we have to, if we press on the refresh, deposit, withdraw, all these things work. So but first of all, we want to connect to the blockchain and we want to get the balance, right? So initial thing is that in this particular place, I will first of all create init state. So initially I will fetch the balance, right? So I'll just override this method called init state, and here I'll declare my HTTP client first of all. So HTTP client can be declared as client. Okay, similarly I can create the Ethereum client. So I'll say web3 client, and it needs a URL and an HTTP client, right? So for URL, I have already given the HTTP client. For URL, I told you either you can use your local server, or you can use Ganache, or you can use this Infura, which we using Infura, and I can copy this URL. Just create a new project and you will get the URL, nothing else. You don't have to do any connection or anything. And I can pass this URL here, and that's how our Ethereum client is ready as well. And now we can call a method called getBalance, right? We know that we don't have this method. So when we want to fetch a balance, we have to provide the address as well, right? For which account you want the balance. So I'll provide my address, which is there. So now I will create this particular you can say particular method as well for fetching the balance. So I'll say future void get balance, okay, and I'll say string target address, which we are already passing, and let's make it asynchronous as well because we are using future. Now guys, when you do this target address, right, you can get the Ethereum address out of it. So for getting the Ethereum address, we can just say Ethereum address, okay, address is equal to, we can use Ethereum address class, and from hex, oh, sorry, not this one, Ethereum address dot from hex, okay, and we will provide this hex address here, and it will give us the Ethereum address. This we are getting from the you can say this thing, web3 client, right? Now once we have the address, create another method called query. Okay, so basically I told you that we can use the ABI file directly, right? And we can see how many methods are there, like get balance, withdraw balance, deposit balance, and all these things. For that I'm creating a method. Let's say it returns list of dynamic. Okay, dynamic means it can have anything, and we can name it query. Okay, and we will say that we will pass you a function name. Okay, function name, and this query will actually return us the result. Okay, and then we will also pass some arguments if it has some arguments. So I'll tell you what I mean by this. So what I basically want to do, I want to pass the function name. So if I go back to our Ethereum blockchain, we made this function called get balance, deposit balance, right? So we will give it this function name, let's say deposit balance. We will pass the arguments, right? For deposit balance there is only one argument, but for get balance there is 0. So that's why we are passing a list. There can be many, more than one, but right now we have just one. And then what we want to get the result from the blockchain, or we want to get this value from the blockchain, right? So first of all, for this we need the contract, smart contract, right? And how we will how we will get this smart contract? If you remember, we made an abi.json file, right? So we can just say load that contract, right? Load the contract. So again, now you will wonder what is the load contract. So we will create another method here, which we will say future, and for getting contract we need deployed contract, right? Which has been deployed, and we can name it load contract. And we don't need internet for this, because we can get it from the ABI itself. So string ABI is equal to await. We can use root bundle. So this is totally related to Flutter. We will load the string, load string, and we have our ABI in assets/abi.json file. Okay, once we have the ABI, we need a contract address, guys. So what is a contract address? So for every address we get a contract address, and from where we can get it? If you go back to Chrome, here in this compilation part you will see this contract address. So where it is, see, this is the deployed address, and you can copy it from here. So this is the deployed contracts and the address. So if I copy it, it looks something like this. Okay, this is my contract address, and now I can finally get the contract. So final contract, which I'll return, is I can just use a method called I can use deployed contract, and I can have another contract abi.from JSON file, and I can pass the ABI code and with the name. So first of all I need the JSON. So JSON string I'm getting from ABI, and it needs a name, right? So name of ABI would be, the name of the contract is PK coin, if you remember. So this is the PK coin. You can see it everywhere, right? So we are gonna just you can just copy this from here. So this is what we need. So I'll just say PK coin. It needs one more thing. So deployed contract takes contract ABI and then Ethereum address. So again I'll say Ethereum address dot from hacks, and I'll pass my contract address, right? This is the contract address which we got. And once we have this contract, we will return this contract. Okay, I know this is too much work, but this is just initial setup. So basically we are loading contract from the assets, and then we are using this deployed contract class to get the object and returning it in this query. So now we have the contract finally in this query. Now we need the method. Okay, we need result from this method. So what we can do, we can first of all find the function. So we can call ETH function, and the function we will get from contract. So contracts dot function, and we will supply the function name. Okay, and once we have that, then we can fetch the result, and we will return the result. So how we will fetch the result? We will say await. We will use this ETH client, which is Web3 client, and there are some methods. Let's say dot call. Dot call takes a contract, so we will pass the contract. It takes a function, so we will pass this ETH function, and it takes a parameter, so we will pass our arguments from here. You can just say arguments. Why we are saying blank? Because we can specify it later. We have the arguments. Now we will go back. We will return this result, whatever result which we get. So return result. Okay, and now we have this get balance method where we have this address, Ethereum address. So I'll the result can be a list, as I already told you. So I'll take the result and I will await the query. So this is get balance. So balance, if you'll see the balance name, the function name is get balance. So I'll copy this, and for arguments, there is no arguments which needs to pass because it's blank. So I'll pass nothing, and yeah, that's it. And once I get the result, I can create another method, another field called let's say my data. Okay, my data, and I can save this to my data. My data is equal to result of 0, right? What's happened to my data? Looks good. Yeah, so my data is equal to result 0. Okay, we missed this one. And then we can do set state, right? And once we have the data, we can also make our data as true, which we had created initially. Okay, lot of work already, guys. And now what I want, we are not using this address right now, but because we already providing the contract address, so we don't need it. So now let's see what happens when I do a small restart. Okay, we will try to debug everything so that you can understand what's happening. So yeah, we are here. First of all, we have the target address. We are here the result. We will go to the query, and here we are loading the contract. So we will go to the contract. We will load the contract first of all. Once we have the contract, you can see we have this ABI with all the contract information. Then we want to return the contract. So we have the contract, and you can see we have ABI, we have address, we have events, we have 4 functions which it returns: deposit balance, then withdraw balance, and then get balance. 3 functions and 1 constructor basically. And once we return it, then you will see, okay, we got some range error. So guys, we are using the mainnet address here. That is the problem, that we are using the mainnet address. We have to use the Rinkeby address from this thing, which is the Infura, and that's the stupid mistake which I have done. So we have to use the mainnet address here. Sorry, Rinkeby testnet address here. And now if I'll do a hot restart, it should work. So get balance, we got the balance, we got the contract as well, and then we got the ETH function, and this time it should work. This time it should return the result. Yes, it returned the result, guys. There are some a list of items which we have get in big int, and that's where we will set it to result 0, and we have $1. Let's add a shimmer effect to this $1 as well. So I'll go here to this data. Okay, $1 is basically wrong value. We got my data, so I'll just use my data field here. Okay, so my data is what we have to show, and the balance is 0, guys. The balance is 0 right now. Let's add a shimmer effect to it just to make it look cool. So we have $0. We need to add some money. So let's add some money from here first, and then we will add it from our panel. So let's try to add some money. Let's say deposit 10 from here, deposit balance. So 10 PK coin, and I'll confirm the transaction here. Now the transaction is confirmed. If I go back, let's do one thing. If I restart it, then the balance should be updated to 10. Let's see if that works. And we have so many breakpoints. Let's remove all of them. We don't need the breakpoints anymore. Everything is working fine. So now you can see the balance is $10, guys. So that means our blockchain is working pretty good. We haven't hard coded 10 anywhere, don't worry. So when we are doing refresh, we want to do the same thing again, right? So for refresh button, I can directly call the get balance method, and I can pass my address to it does not need address, but in future you might need it. So I'm just saying get balance, and it will refresh it for me. The one thing which I need again is that I want to deposit and withdraw as well. So similarly, like get balance, we will create two more kind of you can say methods. So first method which I'm gonna create is basically send coin, and the second one which I want to create is withdraw coin. So I'm gonna just say future here, okay, and I'm gonna just return a string from this method. So I'll say send coin, and here I will make it again asynchronous. First of all, we will fetch the amount, right? So let's say I have amount in big, right? So I'll say big amount. I want the amount to be sent in big integer because that's what it takes. So I'll just pass my amount. My amount is basically, if you remember, initially it is 0, and the amount which we set from slider is this my amount, right? And then what we will do, we will get the response from a method which we will create right now. Let's say submit is the name of the method. Again, we will give the function name. Function name is, let's say, deposit balance, right? And we will pass in the parameter. This time we will pass the big amount, right? Last time we didn't pass anything, right? But this time we need to pass something, right? And once we have that, we can just print deposited, correct? And then we can also return the response, correct? So this method which we need, we will just copy and paste it again to have another withdraw coin kind of method, withdraw coin, and rather than deposit balance, it will have withdraw balance with the same field big amount, and we can just say withdrawn, okay? And we will just call these methods from these buttons. So we can just say, you know, deposit, no, what was that? Send coin, right? Send coin. And for this we can just say withdraw coin. Okay, now we need this submit method to make. So I'll create this submit method. It is very easy. This time we are dealing with transactions, actual transaction. This is not a read operation, this is a write operation. So we need to do few things. So first of all, we need to have kind of future string, okay, submit method, right? And then we can have a string called function name which we are giving there. So function name, right? And then again some arguments, so list dynamic arguments, right? So once we have both of these things, this submit method will work. Let's make it asynchronous. Now it should return some string. So first of all, guys, we need the credential, the private key, right? Any private key will work because this is a test account. So I'll use this Ethereum private key, okay? Credential I will name it, and if I'll use this method called from hex, then you can pass your hash and you will get your credential in terms of ETH private key. So if you'll go to your Ethereum your Metamask account, then you will see there is an option called you know, view account details, and there is option to export private key, so you can use that. But right now I'm using some random private key because it's just for testing purposes. So I'll use this random private key which I already have. So I'll use this private key which I have, and once I am done with that thing, once I have the this private key, then I need the contract, right? So again I need the deployed contract, and I'll use load contract method. That's why I created a separate method so that we can use them again and again. Then we need the ETH function which we created here as well. So I'll just copy this as well. ETH function we have. Now we need the result, right? So to get the result, what we can do, final result, and we can await again. We can use the same ETH client, but this time we will not use call method, but we will use send transaction. It needs credential which we will pass, and it also needs one more thing, which is transaction itself. So I can basically I can use this transaction class dot call contract constructor of it, and I can pass the contract here. So contract can be passed very well. I need to pass the function, so we have the ETH function, and then we have to pass the parameters, which is nothing but the arguments, right? So once we do that, then we will have our result, and we can return the result. And that's what we need. That's the everything what we need. And then we will get this message withdrawn, deposit and all. Let's try with some value. Let's try to deposit 20 PK coin. Let's deposit. Click on deposit, and in the console, okay, we got some error, invalid sender. Okay guys, there is one more thing which we are missing here, and that is when you call this where it is this send transaction, right? It does not know that what is the chain ID. So if you want to know it by automatically, so you can just say fetch chain ID from network to true, which means now it will fetch it from the network. Let's say network is infura.io, so it will set the chain ID depending on that, right? And now if I'll click on deposit again, let's see what happens. If we we got deposited in the console itself on the bottom, right? So now if I'll refresh my balance, I should get 30. Yes. And now let's try to withdraw $5 PK coin from here. Let's say if I click withdraw, now you can see withdrawn is appeared here, and we can also get the transaction hash of it, right? So this result is basically, which I am getting here, is actually returning like this response. We are not using it, but it is returning the transaction hash. So if I refresh it, now it should be 25. So 25 is there. So we can use this response to show the transaction hash, right? So after all of these things, I can probably have this transaction hash. So what I can do, I can create another variable, let's say tx hash, right? And initially it is blank, it is null, or maybe, yeah, it is null, let's say. But once we have the transaction hash, let's say here in these two methods we have the response, so we can just say transaction hash is equal to response. And in both the cases, what we can do, guys, we can call set state, and it will refresh the UI. So transaction hash we have, then at the end we can do one thing. We can just say if tx hash is not equal to null, then tx hash dot text dot make, something like this, right? Make. Okay, so we have done this, or make centered in fact, and let's make it black as well. So now if I deposit it, then you will see $5 I'm depositing. It is saying that class string has no. Okay, let's make it a string, guys, first of all, otherwise it's gonna give you this error. So let's go back and make it a string, and now you can see I have the transaction hash, right? And this hash will change. Okay, so let me just add some padding as well. So this is the hash. Now let's deposit 37 more, and the hash will change, you can see. And now if I refresh it, it will take some time, because see, on Etherscan, if you have seen, this shows pending. So you can also go back here, and you can listen on the network what is happening with your address, which is your address is basically this one. So you can go and you can see what is happening here. So you get this Etherscan, and now it is successful. So now if I'll refresh this, then you will see we have $67, right? So yeah, guys, this was the idea of how to deal with blockchain and how to make Flutter application, how to create smart contract, And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, press the like button, subscribe to the channel right now, and let me know what other tutorials you would want in the comments. Share with your friends, and thanks for watching. Bye bye, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. And yes, keep supporting, keep loving. Bye bye.